What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mountain Vibes. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing if you are into ski and snowboard related gear videos, and that way you're not going to miss every time I put up a new upload. So with today's video, we are going to be talking full tilt boots. Now, I also want to start off by saying that I am not being paid by Full Tilt. This is not a sponsored video. Everything you're going to be hearing in this video are my own thoughts and opinions on the brand. Now, in this video, I'm also not going to be going over like each individual boot in their product line. I'm just going to be talking about the brand as a whole and essentially what makes their products unique. At first glance, you're going to notice that all Full Tilt boots have this 3-buckle or 3-piece design, other words known as a cabrio design. Now, this essentially allows them to be very unique as opposed to your traditional 4-buckle overlap boots that pretty much every other manufacturer makes. Now, Full Tilt did not really come up with this design themselves. This essentially design has been around for quite some time now, but it was always branded as either Nisel or Reichly in the 70s and 80s. And then the molds or the technology was bought out by K2, and then they decided to rebrand it as Full Tilt. Now, as mentioned, with a lot of this design does come a lot of really cool added benefits and features, and that's essentially what we're going to be going over today. Okay, so the first point to go over, in my honest opinion, this is really what separates these guys from everybody else, and that is essentially their ease of use to get on. So if you're someone who struggles to get into a traditional 4-buckle overlap boot, consider getting into something like this. And the biggest reason, and this comes down to that 3-piece design, is that the whole tongue is able to move straight forward and open up that instep. If you notice right here, this whole tongue comes all the way forward, leaving this whole section here wide open. It just makes it real easy for your foot to come straight in. Now, as well, if you are someone with a higher instep, because this is all cut out here, you're not going to really get a ton of pressure over the top of it. Now, same thing, it's ease in, ease out. So if you have, let's say, mobility issues, or if you're someone who just kind of can't, really get around the instep on a traditional boot, consider getting something like this. As I said, that this opens right up and makes it super easy to get into. Now, moving into my second point, because of the fact that this whole tongue can move forward, it is also removable. So there's these pins right here up on the top, and essentially what you can do there is just remove the tongue just like that. Now, there's a couple of added benefits to something like this. Number one, if you have one of their touring boots and you remove this, you can get a lot of range of motion. But at the same time, another added feature is that all the stiffness from these boots comes from these tongues. So let's say if you buy a boot like this, I believe this is rated at a 90, but you want something a little bit stiffer, say for a harder carving day, all you have to do is just buy a stiffer tongue, because all the flex and all the control comes off of this. Now, keep in mind though, if you do buy a tongue, chances are it is going to come in black. So they're not going to necessarily make every single colorway to match the boots of a current model season. But that is a really, really cool feature to essentially let's say grow with a boot, or have 2 boots in one, 3 boots in one. So if you're someone who instead of going out and buying a bunch of different boots, get yourself into a Full Tilt, and then that way all you have to do is replace the tongues for $50-$60, as opposed to going out and buying a brand new $400-$500 boot. And as well, now that you can see that I actually have this tongue off here, their liners, what they do is they actually use an aftermarket company called Intuition. They do a couple of different models, and this particular one has what's referred to as a wrap liner. So if you do this, and you'll actually see that the liner itself actually overlaps. Now, some added benefits to having a liner like this, there's very few seams in it, so it's going to make the liner extremely warm. Now, another plus side to it is these particular liners is that the foam that they use, it is pretty much a little bit thicker all the way through, which in turn allows it to mold and shape to your foot, giving you a very, very precise fit. Now, there's also another liner that they use. It's referred to as your traditional, tongue liner. So if you're someone who doesn't necessarily want to have all this added extra bulk up around the shin area, you could just get into one of their normal traditional flex tongue liners. It's going to be the same idea, the same type of foam. It's going to give you the same sort of really customizable shape. And then on their lower end boots, you're just going to have a normal tongue liner that will really only mold in the ankle area or the heel pocket area. So that's a really nice added bonus. You know, usually these liners will run you about $200 if you were to actually go out and buy them themselves. And same thing, Intuition, it's not sponsoring this video. It is something that you could always buy and add to your own boots, but it is a really cool, nice added bonus that pretty much every single full tilt boot does come with these Intuition liners. Okay, and another sweet added benefit to having a boot design like this is the actual reduction of shin bang. You know, if you're in more of like your traditional overlap 4-buckle boot, you actually have to move the whole piece and then to make the boot move. The nice thing with this, and well, this comes down to that 3-piece and having like the tongue as well, is that all your power and all your flex comes off of the tongue itself. You don't have to worry about moving 2 huge pieces. They're generally about like this wide here, and you're hinging it down on the bottom. And that's the beauty about having this pretty much this modular tongue design, because like when you're leaning into it, it's nice and soft, and the longer, the more you lean into it, it'll actually get stiffer and it'll give you that nice sort of rebound. So if you want something that's a little bit more forgiving, a little bit softer, you know, as I mentioned, you could just switch out the tongue. And if you want something that's a little bit more powerful, you can switch it out as well and put a stiffer tongue into it. And then at the same time, because of the way that these are actually designed, especially with like the wrap liners, it's a lot thicker here, you are adding a lot more padding onto your shin, and it just makes the ease of use a lot easier to move. And because of the way that this is designed and the way that the buckles are actually arranged on the boot itself, it makes the flexing of the boot a lot more natural with your body. You're not going to be slamming your shin up against this huge top cuff on a traditional boot. You are moving it against this tongue that naturally wants to bend, you know, down right around your instep. So essentially, this is going to be a lot more easier to use. It's going to give you a lot better shock absorption, and you're going to fatigue a lot less while you're out on the hill. And then my last point, you know, these boots look really cool. They always have had really cool designs. You know, this particular boot is the BNE Pro, which is essentially the Castlebon and Henrik Harlow Pro model. You know, they've got really cool accents on it. They've got like a little bit of a ninja vibe going on. You know, if it was a little bit more black, you probably almost would have, I guess, kind of like a stormtrooper vibe to it. But they've always been really unique in their designs. They've always kind of like tailored to kind of like, you know, like what's not necessarily what's cool, but, you know, kind of make them stand out, especially if you look at a ski boot wall and you look at their different designs, and they really, really pop. You know, not to say that when you're skiing, you're only going to see about like this much of the boot anyway, but it is a really cool design. In my personal opinion, they are really like, you know, stepping up the design game when it comes to ski boots. So as great as these boots are, it's a shame, unfortunately, that this brand will no longer exist at the end of this year. There was a statement released by K2, you know, their parent company, saying that K2 will now be absorbing the Full Tilt brand, meaning that Full Tilt as a company or as a brand will no longer exist, but these boots will live on within the K2 product line. What does that mean? Who knows? Like, will they keep all these cool designs? Will they maintain like the entire product line, or will they just kind of scale it down to like 1 or 2? It is a shame that like such a cool brand is no longer going to exist at the end of this season. So if you find yourself and you really like the way these look and you really want to get yourself into something like this, you know, I'm not saying you have to rush out and buy it, but just keep it in mind that, you know, this particular brand really won't exist at the end of the year, and only time will tell to see like exactly how K2 will be moving forward with this design. It would be nice if they can keep it around, because as mentioned throughout the entire video, it is very unique. They do have a lot of really cool features and a lot of benefits compared to your normal 4-buckle 2-piece overlap boot. So that's it for me for today, everybody. You know, hopefully you got something out of this video. You know, if you currently wear Full Tilt boots and you really enjoy them, you know, leave a comment down below as to like why you like them, how long you've had them, what models you wear. And, you know, if you're curious about the brand itself or curious about how they fit, how they ski, you know, leave me some questions down in the comments section. I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you are not already. Don't forget to support your local ski and snowboard shop. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'll see you guys in the next video.